Okay, we're getting back on our motor here. So today we're going to play with the transmission here. I've had so much fun with everything else not working. We're going to go ahead and put the tranny in here and see if it lines up or not. The trap door on here, which is the mounting part here, they're machined to the case. So you got the dowel pins, the bolt holes, but the biggest thing is you got the two main shafts coming through here and the shift shaft. The main shafts need to line up pretty close or things don't work very well. And whenever you replace these trap doors, they never match up because they're machined to the case. It's not something you just swap out and walk away and call it done. So every now and then you get one that's close, so things will work though. Not be too bad. Alright, so I need to find out if this one's going to work or not, because I don't know. So before I kind of set the gears up, when I first started all these videos, that's what it came in for, as a transmission repair. So I kind of went through here and lined everything all up and got the shift forks all done. So if you go back and look through the playlist and look at some of the first videos, it'll show you how I did all this. I think there's still one gear here it wants me to change out since I did this, but we'll work on that later. So first thing I do is get the bearings inside the case, assemble this up and see if it binds up or not. If it doesn't bind up and it shifts good, then we're golden. So that's what we're going to do. See, the bearings are over here. So there's the bearings we're mocked up for. So go ahead and put it in there. Now, very important that you got to put the washer where they belong. Excuse me. So I had a couple of trannies come in lately where they just have the snap ring up in here. So you got this big space in here, and if you put the rollers up in there like that, they'll catch on that and then they'll pop out the side and you lose your rollers and you lose your transmission. So the way you stop that is you take this washer and you put it up in there, and that keeps them from going through that hole right there. Damn it. There's no grease to hold it in right now. So that goes in like that. That gives you a nice round surface so the roller can't get out. So that's how it's supposed to be. So I've seen a lot of them just laying against the washer right here, which is not even here. So I don't know where all these washers are at that are supposed to be in here. My guess is they're hidden someplace and disappeared, one or the other. Yeah. Don't see them, don't know. Okay, here's our shift shaft to go in right now. There it goes. Make sure it's nice and free. Make sure it's not too worn out on this bushing out here. Feels good. You also got to make sure it doesn't hit on the case, anything when you go up and down through its stroke. So when you move it up and down, it doesn't hit on anything. This shaft here is cut down real thin. A lot of ones have got big chunky crap on them, and the cases have stuff to get and interfere. So a lot of times you got to go there and cut the shaft down or cut the case to make clearance. They did a lot of things over the years. So. It's like most things, there's always things to play with. So I don't see all the thrust washers for some reason. Don't know where they went to. So there's supposed to be a washer in here and a washer here. Alright, let me go dig that up. We'll be back. Alright, we're back. Couldn't find any of the washers, so they're probably all worn out junk ones. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this apart. So let's see what gears we got to replace. So you got to pull off your low gear first. Then you can pull out the whole main shaft. Pull out your second gear main shaft. Then you can pull out your shift fork shaft out, if it'll come. This one won't. Just tap it out with a punch. So right on the end of the shaft here, beat it up. Pull the shaft out. You pull out the one shift fork. Shift fork came out, the roller fell off. There's the roller, don't lose it. Goes on the shift fork. So what we got on this one? Standard, rare. Okay, now you pull out the other shift fork. Sometimes they come out easy, sometimes they don't. This one is one that doesn't want to come out, so you rotate the drum a little bit. You can get it out easy. This one here we put in a plus 20. See, they mark them right here on the end what they are. They also mark them up in here sometimes too. Put it back in neutral. Okay, now the whole counter shaft can come up as a unit. So there you go, it's all apart. Okay, so we already put a high gear in here. Okay, he wants to put a dry clutch in this, so we're going to have to put the piece in the end of the counter shaft, or the clutch gear that goes in here to seal it. Where's that built? No, that's built in on this bike. Okay. Normally this piece here under the shaft is a separate piece, so this is all built in one piece. It still takes a seal on the end of it here though when you put it together for real. Okay. So you usually have 2 washers right here for spacing low gear. Sometimes there's only one. They make these in 4 different thicknesses, so you get all kinds of range of adjustment. So, pull up our gear and look at the dogs. So this gear here is a little bit worn. This one here is not worn, see how nice and sharp it is. So these gears look good. You want to look at all your gear teeth and make sure there's no damage at all on them. If it doesn't look really, really good, get rid of it. Because when these things break, they take the tranny out. Counter shaft is used, but it looks okay. You really want to look through this area right here. This is where they start to pit out flake first. This one looks okay. So, low gear looks like new. This gear here is pretty well worn. These 2 engage like this. And obviously this one's been bouncing around against it quite a bit and it's chewed it up a little bit. So I'm going to go look to see if I got a better one of these. Check this gear here out. See, this gear is worn here, but it's not worn very bad. See, just slightly radiused over, that's good. When they start getting more like this and rubbing across pretty good like this, that's when they get worse. So that's why this one's usable, but it's getting there close. It's time to think about replacing it. It's like half worn out. This one's just broken in basically. Same deal, look at your teeth, make sure they're good. These all look good. Little gear was good, so that's all good. And then you got another dog right here. Those all look good also. Alright, so this here was the gear that was questionable. So he's thinking we need to replace it, so it looks like it needs to be some replacement. That's a genuine Harley gear because it's got the Harley part number written on it, so you know it's genuine. Okay, so I'm going to go look to see what I got in a used one. If I don't have a really nice looking Harley used one, we'll look for a new one. So I'll be back. Alright, finally found something. Getting hard to find these good gears. So, this is the one that was in there. It's worn away a little bit from dragging. This is the only good used one I found. It's just broken in like the other gear was there. This dog looks real good over here. The teeth look pretty good, but there's a few marks in there, here and there, that I don't like. It looks like something was dragging on the outside, probably some broken parts in this tranny maybe, I don't know. So, see little nicks here and there on the gear face. Right there is a nick. Like I said, they're not perfect, I don't like reusing gears, so. This one is usable, but it's, unknown. Without x-raying the stuff and figuring out what the hell's wrong with these gears, you don't know. But anyway, overall this is about an 80% gear, so This motor, we want good stuff in it. So I went and dug up one of my new ones here. Don't have too many of these left. This is an HDC. I don't know who made it. It's not Harley, I don't think. But anyway, the teeth are nice and ground finish and not just raw cut. So it looks like a decent gear. So, like I said, these things have been available for a few years now of any good quality. This is one of the last time I got left. So I'm going to go with that one. So, goes on there. It's got a little bit of cosmetic in there. It's that black greasy junk in there. Got most of it cleaned off, but not all of it. Seems to work all right, like it's supposed to. So I'm good with that. All right, lay that back in there. Take our shift fork, put it back in there. Same deal as one go, so move it over toward low and then back into neutral. Okay. You take the other one, stick it down inside the groove down in there. This one needs to be higher up. This one here is following it down, which we don't want to be. There we go. Put the fork in there, the shaft anyway. Tap it in a little bit, make sure it's in there. There. It went all the way through, you can hear it. The washer's there. That one goes there. Move gears in. There we go. Okay, now you want to look at the gear, make sure you got the same shift pattern we had when we started. Yeah. Dry throat. Not much humidity today. So the dog, you have the gap right there between the gear teeth. When you move it up and down, you want to make sure the gap is the same. So if you can see the gap there, it's hard to tell. So you get a gap here, and you get a gap right there. So make sure you check it both ways. Everything has clearance in it, so it matters. So when you got it equally spaced, or slightly toward this gear, or slightly toward that gear, those are your higher gears, and then that's better. So anyway, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put these bearings inside the case here now, and see if we can't get this thing put together. And we'll see how good these parts match up to each other. So to hold the bearings in, I'll put some grease in there on the case race. He's already got some grease on these ones, so let's see if they'll stay in there that way. Get my knees here. Probably not enough grease there to stay in, so we'll put some new stuff in there. Layer all the way around. Just grab 2 rollers at a time. Try to grab 3 at a time, it just gets confusing, which means the rollers do not go where you want them to go. You can do them 1 at a time, that works too. I find 2 at a time you got good control over. You can put them where you want them, stick them in there and they'll stay put. Every time you try to do 3, it usually drops 1 or 2. Usually 2 drop, so only 1 goes in. So it actually slows you down. Just grab 2 at a time. Seems to work the best. So you hold them like that. You got good control over them. Just lay them in there next to the other ones. Stack them up all the way around the circle. Something ain't right. Doesn't feel correct. It's the angle I'm doing it, I guess. It's sitting in there flat, so it's correct. Okay, now the last one might not want to go in, so you kind of wiggle around and get it to go in. Do not force it in. If you cannot get it to go in, rotate everything around a little bit, and a lot of times it'll free up and give you a spot. Get it in there. Yeah. This one's being a pain. Not room for it. Rotate them around a little bit. Every roller has a gap between it. If the gap is too big, it won't go in. There it goes. So you want the rollers to be able to rotate, not just slide. Those must be oversized rollers because they don't want to go in there. Usually, you got oversized rollers. You got to leave one out. And I usually put a big twin roller in there because it's like an 1/8 inch thick. These are like 150, I think. So at least if you put one in there small, it doesn't do anything, but it keeps the rollers from jerking sideways on you and binding up. Okay, you want to make sure that's halfway up. It has to engage inside of this groove right here. Okay, we gotta get some washers to go in here because I don't have any. So let's go over here, grab some washers. Don't know what we need. It won't fall off, but it'll probably break off. So let's just grab something middle of the road. We'll take one of these. And let's grab one of these here. You don't know what you need until you put them in there, so we got 2 on there now. So normally you put a little grease or oil and stuff. It'll help hold it together. In this case, I'm just going to do it dry. Alright, so you got to make sure you poke the main shaft into the rollers and don't knock them out. Doesn't want to go. It's poking through though. It's not the shift shaft. Okay, I pushed the shaft in about this far so I can gauge into the dog in there, so I know that's in there. So something does not want to go. Go in a little bit deeper. Kind of screwing in, which means it's binding, which is not good. This thing should just slide right in. This is not a good sign when I can't even put it together. It's definitely not a good sign. Not go in. So, it's bound up. Should be able to move it in and out because it's not even in the transmission yet. We still got a 3/8 inch gap between the door and the case. So, so, main shaft's not going to go in the hole for whatever reason. Don't know why. That's why we're doing a mock-up. feels like the bearings are way too tight. And they are. There's no clearance in this shaft. So these are probably oversized bearings. As you rotate it, it'll come out slowly. Alright, so obviously these things don't fit together. That's why I didn't put the whole motor together and get to this point, in case there was a problem. There's a problem. My guess is these rollers are oversized. That's why I didn't want to go into the case. Alright. We take them and measure them. See what size we got. So it looks like we're 156 even. Grab a couple more just to make sure they're all the same. It wouldn't be the first time I've had them when they're all mixed up. Okay, looks like these are all 156 even. Okay, so let's go find some new rollers. We'll be back. Alright, we're back. So these are some standard rollers. So 9095 is the Harley number. These are the old ones you used to be able to get. Now you gotta buy Eastern, which are usually only available in standard. Well, finding oversized bearings are getting really hard to do lately. The last 2-3 years, rollers are becoming non-available. Okay, so here's some brand new rollers. Do not mix them up with those, so we'll do it over here. Let's see what standard is. Those appear to be standard. 56 and 0. .56 and 0. Alright, so they're standard. So that means whoever set up this case never fitted them correctly. Or when we put this brand new main shaft in there, it's a lot bigger than the one that came out. Both of those are very, very likely to have happened. So now we got to do is we got to measure up all these parts, figure out what size they are, and we're going to have to hone that case to fit. And we got to do that before we can even check to see if the alignment's any good. Or I got to knock out that case race, knock out that bearing down there, put my checking pins in there, and see if this thing lines up. So I kind of lean toward that one myself, because that way I'll know what's going on at that point. Okay, I can get this stuff cleaned up. We'll be back. Okay, get ready to knock this out of here. First thing I do is mark it, so I know where vertical is. Both of these bearings I'm going to mark. I can knock them out. So you can find something that's the right size. Ooh, first shot, got it. So put that right on the race. We can knock it out. One bearing race is out. came out relatively nice. I'll put Loctite on when I put it back in. These cases are not round. These don't go in round every time. So when you mark it, so you know where it came out of. It was already honed at some point, I'm assuming. So hopefully when I put it back, it goes back in the same spot and it's still relatively round. That's why you mark it. The needle bearing is not as critical, but I did it too just to make sure it's still good also. That one, I'm not sure exactly the size we need. One size bigger than this one hurt. Might fit. And that one's probably tight. Okay, so now on these bearings, you got a round side and a flat side. This is the round side. Actually, I think that's the flat side. This is the round side over here. That's the round side. You're not supposed to beat on the round side. It can fracture. These are very hardened bearings, so they're brittle. This is the flat side. The flat side is the side you're supposed to push on to beat it in with. If you're careful, you can do it either way, but you're supposed to do it on the flat side. So, this is the size mandrel I'm going to use to beat on it with. See if we can get the bigger one. Bigger one's too big. One bearing's out, so you can see the flatness to this one. See how it's rounded over here. So you can either reuse these or not reuse them. I'm assuming these were replaced when they did all this training work recently, so we're going to be reusing it. Okay, so now we got all the stuff out. Now I gotta go find my 2 dowel pins someplace so I can check my trapdoor alignment. I also need to get this trapdoor apart again over here because I can't have all these parts here to get in the way. I gotta take this back apart again. I'm going to knock out this gear out of here also, so we're going to do that with the press. So we'll go and press that out, we'll be back.